In this video, we will look at the different roles of users on a Panopticon visualization server. There are three main roles: viewer, designer, and administrator. Let's start by logging in as someone called Victor Viewer. What we see when we're logged in as Victor Viewer is a number of workbooks that we can open and use. We can browse a number of folders with other workbooks. However, when we right-click these folders, there's nothing we can do. There are no options on the context menu. Same thing with these workbook files. Nothing that we're allowed to do with them by right-clicking. If we log out, we will log in as yet another user who is also a viewer. But Laura Legal also has the role Legal, which means that she gets to see yet another folder called Legal. To see this folder, you need to have the role Legal in the user configuration. We can look at a similar example if we log in as Harry HR. So Harry has access to the human resources folder, but just like Victor and Laura, there's nothing he can do with these folders and these workbooks. If we move on to the next level, we will be investigating what you see when you are logged in as a designer. So we're logging in as Denise Designer, and the most interesting thing is that we get our own personal folder here where we can save work in progress. Apparently, we also as a designer have access to this folder ready for test. And actually, we can right-click it in any of these folders, and we can even investigate the permissions. We can actually set permissions on this folder. And we can see that regular viewers are denied from doing anything with this folder. Things I can do as a designer include renaming, creating a new subfolder, creating a new workbook, upload a workbook, set permissions as we saw, export a bundle, which is an entire hierarchy of folders and workbooks and potentially data files used by them. I can also import such a bundle. If I right-click one of these workbooks, I can rename it. I can review its history. I can move it to a different location on the server. I can copy it. I can download it. I can export it as a bundle or remove it. I can also remove any empty folder, but as long as there's content in a folder, I cannot remove it. The next level of user would be an administrator. So we are now logging in as Adrian Administrator. We can see that now we suddenly get to see a folder which is called Administrators Only, in addition to this Designers and Administrators folder. We can also view every personal user folder that exists on the server. So anyone who has a designer role, whoever logged in on this server, has one of these personal folders. Besides that, we have the same options on the folders and the workbooks as any designer would have. But in addition, we have access to more things up here. So we have access to the Systems tab, where we can view ongoing subscriptions, caches, we can view the log, we can check scheduled tasks. We can also create extracts on disk, binary caches of data for fast data access, and so on. If somebody needs to be both a designer and an administrator, let's call that a super user, we simply assign both the role designer and the role administrator to that person. And here we have Susan Super User, who has both of the roles designer and administrator. Susan Super User can see and has access to every folder that exists on the server. Susan can control each of these folders, delete any of this content, and so on. Just like Adrian Administrator, the super user in its role as administrator has access to all of the tabs up here.